Let's go straight to a very critical issue that's indeed bedeviling Nigeria's progress, and the president did touch on it. Nigeria grappled with a myriad of mind-boggling security challenges in 2023, from alarming rates of kidnappings and wanton killings to the unsettling incidents of bomb blasts. The year tested the country's already fragile security architecture. Now, different terrorist groups orchestrated attacks in many parts of the country, with North being the hot spot of these attacks.
An airstrike traced to the Nigerian military left several innocent civilians dead and wounded in Kaduna State this December, and sparked an outrage after the military claimed the village was accidentally bombed while responding to intelligence reports on terrorist movements. Just yesterday, at least 2 villagers were murdered, while one of the attackers was also killed in a fresh attack on the plateau.
Now, the attack came barely 1 week after similar attacks by jihadists in 15 communities, killing about 200 people and burned 221 houses in 2 council areas in Boko and Barikin Ladi in the state. Now, this morning, I will ask the questions and also find the very pertinent solution or way to indeed curb Nigeria's insecurity challenges. It's also one question that we ask, especially from Sonny Okosu back in 1984, which said, which way Nigeria? It's 2024. Take note. Well, this morning we have Dr. Tony Ofoyetan, who joins us this morning. He is the Director General, International Institute of Professional Security. That's IIPS. And he's raring to go. Good morning to you. Hope you can hear us.
Yeah, good morning and Happy New Year to you guys in the studio and of course to Nigerians. It's a pleasure having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And hopefully this second hour, the network situation will be kind to us as we dig deep. I think my first question to you would be, what do you make of the president's speech? Yeah, the State of the Nation address. And the aspect of security where he says we cannot beat our chests yet, but they are indeed accomplishing great strides on the ground by releasing captives and looking forward to indeed unify the country. What's your thought?
Well, as the president of a nation, we expect a pacifying statement from Mr. President. We expect encouraging statement from Mr. President. So for me, that's just the natural thing that is expected from him. Having said so, what we expect is to look at the reward stroke punishment philosophy, as it were, in this new year and new era, so to say. We are looking forward to a situation where anybody that goofed in his or her responsibility and that goofing cost the nation any form of casualty should be answerable, should be accountable. Those, of course, that have also done well should be rewarded. And that's what I'm expecting, because if not so, if we continue with the rhetorics of the encouragement and the activation of hope and all those stuff like that, we'll still continue in the same recurring decimal. And we are most likely not going to go very far, as it were. But having said so, as the father of the nation, I do not expect anything less from him. It's an encouraging one. It's a statement that we think is suiting for the circumstance and for the situation we are. But that's actually not the situation as it is now. I'm looking forward to something more specific. Who were those that compromised? What happened? Why did the intelligence fail? How come the terrorists succeeded in the first instance and barely a week later also did the same thing? And as we speak today, no head is ruling. Nobody has been said to have been apprehended, so to say. And now what happened? At what point in time did we have such disconnect? These are things that I'm expecting, if not from Mr. President, from the security formations in the country. But having said so, it's also good that we start the year on a good note.
We're still looking at insecurity in Nigeria, and we want to look at what exactly we need to do differently in the new year to guarantee the safety and security of Nigerians. On the eve of Christmas, we saw the hundreds of Nigerians that were killed on the plateau. We've seen accidental bombings, and some have classified that as collateral damage. What can we do better as a nation to ensure the safety of citizens? Do we maybe need to review the budgetary allocation to defense and security, even though it's the highest right now? Dr. Ofoyetan, okay,
I
please
think that combination, yes. I don't know. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you now. Please go ahead.
I think it's a combination of avalanche of... okay. Now, talking in terms of what we can do differently, let's start from the issue of professionalism in training and dispatch of responsibilities. The issue of accidental discharge, I do not expect, and the way to prevent it is to ensure that those that are manning strategic security equipment, assault equipment and technology are trained and retrained up to perfection level. Their precision should be like the precision of a neurosurgeon, as it were. So I expect massive, uninhibited training at national level and at international level for those that are handling our fighter jets, for those that are handling the drones, and for those that are handling high sophisticated modern technology in the military formation. I expect that that should be done, and it should be done very urgently as it is. That is one. Then secondly, I also expect that this new year that the security agencies will carry along communities, traditional rulers and the like in the dispatch of their security in rural areas. They should enshrine, they should look for policy and blueprint to enshrine and co-opt traditional settings, local vigilantes, local hunters, traditional rulers, elders, emirs, and sheikhs within each neighborhood. Now they should, I'm also looking at a situation where you have a response team in 1, 2, or 3 communities together. Should have a response team, and the response timing should not be less than, should not be more than between 3 minutes and 5 minutes. Armed response team. I expect that the security formation should look at that possibility and should also look at it very urgently. Another thing I expect is that I expect that in this new year, they should be able to also look at how to infiltrate into the different cells, identify how many terrorist groups, banditry and cells we have across the country, be able to do a good crime prediction and be able to infiltrate them, be able to have a perfect intelligence. And of course, I also expect that once they get intelligence, either from DSS, from NIA, from police formation, or any security agencies that gets intelligence, the intelligence must be used. And whosoever officer that did not, that got the intelligence and the intelligence was not used, and the resultant effect was that it led to casualty, that officer or group of officers should be answerable. And when I say answerable, they should be removed from such office and punitive measures should be executed on all of them. Whosoever has intelligence and did not use it for any reason whatsoever. I expect that some of these things, I also expect that in this new year, we should play less of rhetorics and do more of the actions rather than, more of talking. You should expect that this year, if we are saying that things should be different, then I also expect that in this new year, security dispatch should be based on professionalism, core professionalism. I also expect that in this new year, our government should review the activities of international non-governmental organizations and civil society organizations that are operating in states like Borno, Niger State, Plateau State, Yobe, region, Benue, and the like. Look at their activities and look at whether they are within the terrain of what they have said they are doing or they are going extraneous. And I also think that the government should review its relationship, bilateral relationship, and whatever relationship they have with neighboring countries that are not cooperating with Nigeria in its fight against insurgency and banditry. I think that the military formation should look at all this. No matter how small the resentment or the reluctance may be from any neighboring country that is not giving them full support. I think the government should review its relationship with them. If it means cut ties temporarily with some countries that are not cooperating, it doesn't make any difference. And I think the government should also look at international governments, foreign governments, their activities, especially in Zamfara. I am looking at a situation where government should be able to look at Zamfara and Kaduna very well, so that it does not become another Central Republic of Congo, so the Democratic Republic of Congo, and also the resting regions where you have gold mines. And unfortunately, because of the greed of foreign countries, they come, they harness the gold, mine the gold illegally, even have some of our people killed and get those things out of the country. Let the government do a review of all those and have a very strict policy that has to do with mining of mineral resources and the activities of foreign countries in some of these mining sites and the like. It is imperative that government look at that, because if not so, that will become the next major crisis zones in this country as it is. And the bloodshed may be, in short, what we're having may be a child's play compared to that. So let government also put a searchlight in Zamfara and in Kaduna State and in Oyo State, especially as it relates to mining of gold and precious stones. So I'm expecting that the government should come all out. And I expect that the government should also be able to put all the service chiefs on their own toes and give them such order to the extent that you do where you are rewarded. If you are not doing very well, you'll be removed. I think these are the things I expect that the government will do differently, and we will get different results.
Well, you've spoken a lot, and some of these points that you've raised, we would look forward to see these things coming to fruition, just like you've mentioned as well, especially following the statement made by the president. We want to say thank you so much, Dr. Ofoyetan, for joining us this morning and highlighting these key issues and these key areas and proffering solution. And we are certain, just like one of our guests who joined this morning, he said he is happy that the president is listening. We're certain the president is also listening to these summations and suggestions made by you. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you. Happy New Year. And the year will be better for us, irrespective of government policy. God bless you all.
Amen. Thank you so much for joining us.